Hey Isaac,
Haunted Beard?
happy Friday the 13th.
Aw, happy Friday the 13th to you too, Haunted Beard. And happy Friday the 13th to all the viewers of Isaac's Haunted Beard. Yes, that's right. We posted this video on Friday the 13th, 2013. And if you didn't see it on that day, happy whatever today is. Now, as you may recall, in the second episode of Isaac's Haunted Beard, I talked about Friday the 13th. Why? Because I love Friday the 13th. It's my favorite horror film franchise of all time, and Jason's my favorite slasher. So, in this video, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Friday the 13th Part 2. In fact, I'd like to tell you 13 things that I love about Friday the 13th Part 2. So, you ready? Here we go. 1. Jason's mask. It is iconic. It is an amazing mask that the moment you see this hockey mask, you know, hey, I know that guy, that's Jason. But guess what, folks? He doesn't get that mask until Part 3. In Part 2, he wears this sack over his head with a hole, like one hole cut out for an eye. It's creepy, it's weird, it looks like the Elephant Man. He never repeats it, but it's spooky and it's very unique to the second film. So, Jason looks different in Part 2, and I think that's awesome. 2! The Friday the 13th logo in the first film comes zooming towards the screen, and once it hits the screen, it shatters glass, which to me doesn't make sense if you saw it in the theater. It only makes sense if you see it on TV. But they repeat this in the beginning of Part 2 with the Friday the 13th logo zooming quickly towards the screen. And once it hits the front of the screen, it literally explodes. Kaboom! And once the dust settles, all that's left is the words Part 2. That is exciting. What a better way to start a sequel. I can't think of one. 3! If Jason's after you, you're screwed. I mean, for some reason, no matter how fast you run, he's going to catch you. He's around every corner. And he really doesn't have to run after you. He just walks really fast. Well, guess what? In Part 2, he hasn't quite figured that out yet. Jason runs in Friday the 13th Part 2. And like the mask, that's another thing about Jason that makes this particular Jason different from all the other Jasons. 4! Where does Jason live? Well, Crystal Lake. But where does he live in Crystal Lake? Does he just live outside? No. He lives in a shack. How do I know this? Because I saw Friday the 13th Part 2. There's a shack that we get the privilege of seeing. I don't know if Jason built the shack. I don't know if he found the shack. I don't know what he does in the shack when he's not there. I don't know if he's, catching up on his reading. I don't know if he's taking naps. But Jason actually has a place to live in Friday the 13th Part 2, and we get to see it. 5! Jason's mom's head gets cut off at the end of Friday the 13th Part 1, and Jason kept it. Here's the thing. He's kind of willy-nilly about what he does with this head. In the beginning of the film, he puts it in Alice's refrigerator when she discovers it in the beginning of the movie. He puts it on his table in his shack and surrounds it with candles and her sweater. And hey, who can blame the guy? I mean, I wish I had Jason's mom's head. If I had it, I'd take it with me frickin' everywhere. Okay. 6! One of my favorite kills in the film is a scene where this young couple's making love, and when they're done, Jason comes into the room with a spear and spears both of them at the same time while they're still on top of each other. One of the best kills ever. 7! Now, if Jason's going to get you, you can't talk your way out of it. And that's part of what is so scary about Jason. You can't go, hey, please don't kill me, because Jason doesn't understand you. Or does he? Jason actually successfully gets talked into, at least temporarily, not killing someone at the end of Part 2. There's that scene at the end where Jenny makes it to the shack before Jason does, puts on his mother's sweater, and when Jason comes crashing in through the shack, she's like, Jason, this is your mother. I'm very proud of you. You've done a good job. I've got a surprise for you. And Jason doesn't know that the surprise is that she's hiding a machete behind her back. And the thing is, Jason's such a big dummy. He's like looking at her. He's like, I saw your head get chopped off, but apparently you're still alive. So I guess you're my mom because you're wearing her sweater. I love that scene. It's really awesome. 8! Jason gets hit with a chair in this movie. Now, I know that I've seen lots of movies where people get hit with a chair, but Jason gets hit with a chair. And why is that important to me? Well, for one simple reason, folks. I love pro wrestling. Love it. I've seen so many wrestlers get hit with chairs in my lifetime that I can't walk by a chair without thinking of a chair as a weapon before I think of it as something that you actually have to sit on. 9! Muffin the dog, Liz. Actual human beings who have gone to college, read books, they have thoughts, they can drive cars, they can hide, they can run, they can make plans, they can scheme. There's all these different ways for people to survive the kind of massacre that Jason brings forth, but they don't. But guess who did? Muffin the dog. Muffin the dog survives Friday the 13th Part 2. 10! Handicapped people are usually taboo in horror films. They automatically get our sympathy, and they usually survive the movie. You'd think that a guy in a wheelchair, maybe, let's just say a guy in a wheelchair could survive Friday the 13th Part 2. He doesn't. There is a guy in a wheelchair in Friday the 13th Part 2. Not only is there a guy in a wheelchair in Friday the 13th Part 2, there is a guy in a wheelchair who is about to get laid. He doesn't even get that, folks. First of all, he doesn't even have the ability to walk. He doesn't even have the ability to get some. That is promised to him. He's about to get laid. And Jason puts a stop to that with a machete to the head, and the guy goes tumbling backwards in the rain, in the dark. Boom, 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 boom. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite scenes in any horror film ever. 11! How should I put this eloquently? Jason gets kicked in the balls in this film. He does. Not only does Jason get kicked in the balls in this film, he actually grabs at the crotch and kind of does the, oh! I wish I had a t-shirt that said Jason gets kicked in the balls in Friday the 13th Part 2. I'd wear that shirt everywhere at the same time I'm carrying around his mom's head. 12! At the end of the movie, when they unmask him and you finally get to see what Jason looks like, in this movie only, he looks like Sloth from the Goonies. And Goonies never say die. 13! This is my favorite thing about Friday the 13th Part 2. I don't know why. I don't understand it. I just love it. In the beginning of the film, Alice opens, as I mentioned earlier, her refrigerator door, sees Jason's mom's head, screams, Jason's behind her, and he has a pick in his hand, and he stabs her in the head. At this very moment, a tea kettle that is on a burner that Alice had put on before she opened the refrigerator whistles because the tea is ready. Now, Jason's there for one reason only, to kill and leave, but he doesn't do that. When that tea kettle goes off, Jason actually takes the time to very carefully lift this tea kettle up off the burner, the hot burner, and place it on the not hot burner. How does Jason even know to do that? I mean, he is like a retard ghost zombie guy. How does he know anything about tea kettles? Even if he did, even if this was all based on a true story and he really did do that, why did they take the time to show that before the opening credits? But thank you. Thank you, Steve Miner, for showing that, because it's my favorite scene in Friday the 13th Part 2. I really love Friday the 13th Part 2. I love it so much that I drew a picture of it. You want to see it? Okay, here it is. This is a picture that I drew of Friday the 13th Part 2. It's like a fake movie poster. And this is a cartoon version of Jason, and this is his mask that he wears. So this is the sack over his head. This is a hole cut out for his eye. This is the little rated R because the kids shouldn't see it. And this is my fancy schmancy signature. Paramount Pictures, right on top, 1981, here it came out. Blah, 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 blah. Beautiful, isn't it? I think so. Thank you very much. If you want to see a better picture of this poster, follow me on Twitter at Isaac's Haunted Bee, and that's at Isaac's Haunted Bee, and that's B as in beard. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you like my fan page on Facebook? And if you have a YouTube account, please subscribe to my channel. So, thank you for spending time with me, and I look forward to talking about horror films again with you, with my haunted beard, and with Jason, wherever you are out there. Jason, if you're watching on the internet, I salute you. And for those about The Rock, I salute you too. Thank you. I look forward to talking with you guys next time. Happy birthday, Mike Bland.